It is now 5:30, and I will call this regular meeting of the Burnsville City Council to order. It is our tradition to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have announcements. Our announcements are about our upcoming meetings. Regular council meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, May 22nd and June 5th at 5:30 p.m. We have a work session scheduled for Tuesday, May 15th at 5:30 p.m. And we have a special work session scheduled for Tuesday, May 29th at 5 p.m. Now, all council meetings are held here in the council chambers. The meeting of Tuesday, May 29th, we are interviewing candidates for our commissions, and so that meeting will be held in Conference Room D. We also have this evening some proclamations that I will read from that side. Members of the audience and also our citizens from Burnsville who are watching, you can see we have our police chief, our police captain, and our police officers here this evening. And I want to thank you all for your service to our community. And the first proclamation that I will read is for National Police Week. Whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Burnsville Police Department. Whereas it is well known and accepted that law enforcement is an inherently dangerous and demanding profession in which dedicated professionals knowingly place their lives in harm's way to protect others who are unable to protect themselves. And whereas the dedicated members of the Burnsville Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Burnsville, and whereas nearly 60,000 assaults against law enforcement officers are reported each year, resulting in approximately 16,677 injuries within the United States. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1971, more than 21,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas it is imperative that all citizens understand the challenges, duties, and responsibilities and sacrifices of their police departments, and the members of our police department recognizes their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting citizens against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the City Council of the City of Burnsville wishes to honor all law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of their duties. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Elizabeth Couts, Mayor of the City of Burnsville, on behalf of the City Council, formally recognize the Burnsville Police for their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities and their dedication to our community, and accordingly hereby proclaim May 13th through the 19th, 2018 as National Police Week in Burnsville, Minnesota. and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in the communities across the nation, proclaimed this 8th day of May 2018. And Chief, would you and our officers please come forward to receive the proclamation? And we have a photo. Oh, we're going to go right in the middle over here so that we can all have everybody. So, Chief, yeah. And thank you. We'll do this over here. Come on, Joe. Yeah, I don't like And I want to thank you all for your service to the community. Please say thank you to our officers when you see them.
All right, I'm on fumes here, so. 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna take one more. 3.
Thank you. Really appreciate everything you guys do. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Good to see you. And we have another proclamation, but this has to do with Kids to Park Day, May 19th. Whereas May 19, 2018 is the 8th Kids to Park Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust, held annually on the 3rd Saturday of May. Whereas Kids to Park Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoor and visit America's parks. And whereas it is important to introduce a new generation to our national parks. And whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat the issues of childhood obesity, mellitus, hypertension, and hypercholesterolemia. And whereas Kids to Park Day is open to all children and adults across the country, a large and diverse group of participants. And whereas Kids to Park Day will broaden children's appreciation of nature and outdoors. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Elizabeth Couts, Mayor of the City of Burnsville, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 19, 2018 as Kids to Park Day, and urge residents of Burnsville to make time to take the children to their neighborhood parks, state parks, national parks. On May 19, 2018, the Burnsville Recreation Department is offering free sneak peek to summer programs from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at Red Oak Park, Neal Park, Vista View Park, and Pahasapa Park, proclaimed this 8th day of May. We also have a proclamation for National Economic Development Week. It's a week of many proclamations. Usually we have no proclamations, and then now we have 3. National Economic Development Week. Whereas economic developer promote economic well-being and quality of life in their communities by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. And whereas economic developers are engaged in a wide variety of settings, including rural and urban, local, state, provincial, and federal governments, public-private partnerships, universities, and a variety of other institutions. And whereas economic developers attract and retain high-quality jobs, develop vibrant communities, and improve the quality of life in their regions. And whereas economic developers work in the city of Burnsville within the state of Minnesota, now therefore be it resolved that I, Elizabeth Couts, Mayor of the city of Burnsville, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 7th through the 12th, 2018 as National Economic Development Week in the city of Burnsville, proclaimed this 8th day of May 2018. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council on an item that is not on the printed agenda and not an application form that will be coming before us at a future date. And we do have someone who would like to address the council. Please, Mr. Silner. Thank you.
All right, thank
Good
you.
evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Dave Solner, representing Buck Hill. And I was here last fall, working through the notion that we'd like to run some concerts over at Buck Hill this coming summer. I'm here to give you an update on that. I want to say we're working through all the details, but it's coming together extremely well. We have 4 nights that we're planning this summer, July 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. 4 consecutive nights of music at Buck Hill. The gates will open around 4 p.m. The music will start around 5:30 and be done with all activities by 9:30 or 10, per the agreements and the understanding of our agreement for this season. We have some great national acts. If this is still on.
Yeah.
We have some great national acts every night. The first night, again, as I mentioned, on July 10th, will be Loverboy. It's a national 80s classic rock band from Canada. The following night will be a all ages show, kind of a country night. We have Little Texas joining us, so it should be a fun family night as well. And then Starship comes to us on Thursday night, Starship with Mickey Thomas. And then our final night on Friday night will be Little River Band. Again, all these bands have a great catalog of music that should be a fun evening, sing-along type venue. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. Tickets are on sale, so please go out and join us for one of those nights, if not all 4 nights.
Thank you, Mr. Solner, for the update. And also, if you can continue to push that out on social media and on Facebook, I will continue to share it as well to all of my friends so that they all know to come and enjoy the wonderful music that's going to be out there. And we're so excited that you're moving ahead, and this is going to be another added excitement and experience in our city. So thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank
Look
you for
forward to seeing
coming
you
for
all
the
there.
update.
Madam Mayor, can
Yeah.
I ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Real excited. One of the many plans that you have for Buck Hill since you have taken over ownership, and I hope the extended ski season was beneficial to the hill after a very bold north freezing Christmas to New Year. But just a quick question on the concerts, and thank you for bringing some good classic rock music to the hill. I'm curious, what's the maximum capacity of ticket sales for any one of those nights that we have based on the area that you've got for people to sit?
Sure. When we came and approached last fall, we looked at the parameters of what we could handle out on site, and the maximum amount on site was 5,000 people that we were looking at. We are capping the ticket sales at 3,500. So we're going to try to do a smaller event this year and try to manage the staff. We're allowed 6 shows. Right now, as I mentioned, we're doing 4, so we've kind of downscaled everything to get our arms around it. And again, we've hitting the classic rock, which we think is kind of a fun genre for everybody to participate in. And to your point about our season, yes, we did make history this year. Buck Hill had the longest season on record. We were open all the way till April 22nd, and it was a cold Christmas, end of December stint there for us. But the snow in February and March and even into April was fantastic, and hopefully some of you, if not all of you, had a chance to come out and enjoy it. So, thank you.
Thank
One
you.
moment, Mr. Selnett. Councilmember Gustafson also has
I'd like to
comments
say
and questions.
As someone that loves live music and has promoted live music for many, many years, I'm really happy you're doing this. And my wife and I and several of our friends plan on being there for the Little River Band that night. So
Same here.
Great.
we were really thrilled to see that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one of the things that I want to commend you on is that you talked with all of the neighbors around, and you addressed their concerns with parking, and you also have solutions on how you're going to make sure that people can come and have a great experience, but not have to deal with all of the congestion.
Absolutely, and we continue to work on that right up to the last minute, so we'll be continuing
Yeah.
to work through all those issues.
I appreciate your being a good neighbor. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
have a good rest of your evening.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Good to see you.
The next item is additions to the final agenda, and this is for emergency items only. Ms. Hardy, are there any emergency items to come before the body?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Members of the council? Okay. Members of the council, we are now at the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a group of items that's considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. However, an item on the consent agenda can be removed for a separate discussion and vote. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes an item on the consent agenda to be removed for a separate discussion and vote? Ms. Hardy?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Members of the council? Council, I am pulling item R, and this is the application for Darussalam. So with that, I'd like a motion for the balance, please.
So moved.
Second?
Councilmember Coughlin makes the motion, second by Councilmember Gustafson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. So the public hearing was held at the Planning Commission. But there were some items that were conditioned and some things that were still outstanding that the Planning Commission also wanted to be resolved before it came to us. And this is the to approve the application for Darussalam for a conditional use permit for a proposed religious institution use. Deny the application for green space variance and conditional use permit for alternative parking for the property located at 190 River Ridge Circle South, and to approve the CUP for religious institution use, deny green space variance and conditional use permit for alternative parking, and to adopt the findings of fact. We have new findings of fact that were just given to us this evening. Ms. Garros, can you please speak to us about where things are at and also the parking issue?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the audience. For the application before you, the applicant has withdrawn the variance application, so there is no need to vote on that. The revised findings of fact that have been provided to you removed the variance criteria and conditions because that application has been withdrawn. So before you is really a conditional use permit application to consider two things. One would be alternative parking. The other would be for a religious institution use in the B3 zone. The recommendation is to approve the religious institution use, but to deny the CUP for the alternative parking.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have new information, Ms. Garros, on the alternative parking?
I do not, Madam Mayor. The one item that I would like to address in the conditions, one of the conditions was that the applicant submit a waiver of subdivision application. They have done so. So I do have an update on that. With regard to the rest, I do not have an update, but can address any questions council may have.
Okay. I'm going to ask Mr. Q. Come forward, please. Earlier, you said that you had addressed the parking issue.
Yes, Madam Mayor. So the alternative parking that Deb is referring to and the parking easement are two different things, if I understand.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay. So the alternative parking, for that to be denied, we're an understanding of that. But for the parking easement, we are in agreement with the Better Business Bureau, and they are going to sign off on that easement or agreement.
You don't have that this evening.
We have the draft, which was forwarded to Ms. Garris.
And that
But-
has been forwarded to our city attorney for review. Thank you.
It's a draft agreement?
No, it's a draft of the agreement.
Oh,
But we are also understand that that is a condition for the religious assembly later, not for the conditional use permit to be approved.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the issues, so Darussalam has had a long time here in Burnsville.
Yes.
And I've had a lot of interactions with Darussalam on the issue of parking. And it goes back almost 10 years in the parkway where members we're parking in private businesses' parking lots, which is not good. We have to all live together in harmony and to be good neighbors to one another. So you're going to be in a business environment, and we need to make sure that the members of Darussalam are also going to be safe, because we have had lots of experience over at the Islamic Institute with overparking and people crossing 13 very dangerously.
Yes.
And so this is not going to work if you don't have parking for your members. And I know that we have a higher standard with regard to our fire code, and you have to stay within the code.
Yes, we do understand that, and we are currently also in a business environment, and we have managed to work hard on the parking issue, and we currently don't have any parking issues in our current place.
Yes, I understand that because
and-
Kraus Anderson owns both buildings on Gateway.
Right, right.
Yes.
But we also do have neighbors adjacent on both sides
Yes.
and behind us, and we don't have any parking trouble with them. As for the new property, we have exhausted over all of our resources, and we continue to do so. And we are part of the plan is for parking expansion on our property right now. And the future plan is to have all of the parking spaces that we need on our property without needing to borrow or to have an agreement with the neighbor.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. And what is your business plan and schedule for getting that parking deck built?
As soon as possible.
Yeah, that's still subjective.
Right.
Give me be done by the end of December, by next year.
Well, we kind of first have to have like the conditional use permit approved, and then from there we have to get going on that. The plans, our architect is here with us tonight, so as soon as we're ready to get it done, as soon as we can. I'm not a construction planner or any of that stuff, so I can't give you a
No.
real time frame.
I understand.
Right.
But it's good to know that we here at the city, because, you know, it becomes a burden to our public safety personnel when we're always going to have to be called out to make sure we manage the traffic and the parking challenges at
Right.
any religious institution. So most all religious institution in the city all have adequate parking, and they meet and sometimes exceed the requirements.
Okay, and that's our plan too. And I would like for you, Madam Mayor, and for the members of council to understand that our current space, we've been in there for about 5-6 years, and we never had any parking issues or we needed patrol officers or anyone
No.
to guide traffic.
Yeah.
So, and we want to stick to that. And we're very serious about the parking issue and public safety, our members' safety, and everyone's safety. And we don't want to have police interference or our issues to come to the city. And we want that much, as much as you want no issues.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we're in good understanding on that.
Okay, very good, because I know that at Gateway, Kraus Anderson owns both buildings, and
Right.
then they manage all of their tenants and talk to all of them. So when you do have big prayer services,
Right.
I think the communication between the tenants that are managed and owned by, the building is owned by Kraus Anderson, get that information.
Right.
Yeah, so now you're going to be part of a business community where you have your property right next door to other businesses within that area.
Right. And we're also in good communication with the other businesses in the area. We have actually rented for their facilities, and we continue to do so. And we are in good communication with all of the immediate area, the businesses in the immediate area.
We just want everybody to be good neighbors to one another. And this
Yeah.
is the reason why we have rules, so that we all obey them and everybody live in harmony. And that makes for a very great community. And so we want that for all of us.
Just to add to that notion, what we are doing what we need the space for is religious assembly and religious
Yeah.
use and teachings, and that's exactly what our message is and our religious teaching is.
Yeah.
So if you don't fulfill that, that's hypocrisy on our part.
Very
So-
good. Because I have a Quran in my house, and
Oh.
so I do know the Quran.
Oh, thank you. Well, good.
So, very good. Councilmember Keeley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one question. One of the things that with concern over the parking, Mr. Q, is just what would happen if the neighbor who you're working agreement with, the Better Business Bureau, were to sell their building 2-3 years down the road, and the new owner, would they have an ability to exit the parking agreement if, by chance, and it's great, your new information tonight about building a deck is welcome news. Were to not, I read on page 3 of your new proposal, item 11, joint parking of 70 stalls at 220 River Ridge Circle South for use by Dar es Salaam will satisfy the ordinance parking standards for the applicant, provided the necessary agreements and easements are recorded at Dakota County over both properties. So my question is to City Attorney Joel Jamnick. Can you explain what does that mean where it's recorded at Dakota County, and what future impacts that might have if, for instance, their partnership with that property were to dissolve or through ownership change or any other reason?
Mayor and council, the easement that I've reviewed, the draft, is a perpetual easement, would be recorded, would run with the land, would bind future owners. The only way it would be terminated would be by consent of the parties. So it would bind a future owner and does meet our requirements, does comply with the city ordinance.
Great, that's wonderful.
Okay.
Great, nice work. And I'm thrilled that you're looking at doing a deck, because ultimately, when you have a large event and there's overflow into the streets, that creates the sort of situation we've had in other areas of the city where it can be very dangerous for children crossing when the roads are crowded with cars and things, and crossing the highway, as Madam Mayor noted. So being able to contain your parking needs on your property is an outstanding solution, so.
Yeah, thank you. Just so the parking expansion, if the city allows for a deck to be built, that would be great on our part. But for us, it's just to have enough parking spaces on our property. Not
And-
necessarily by a deck. I don't know if you mean a ramp or
Yeah, multi-level or.
Multi-level.
Oh,
So
great.
depending on, yeah,
good idea.
yeah. And that, I think you have some excess property on the north side?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, maybe that's where,
Yeah,
where you could do a deck there, or just more surface parking is,
yeah.
All right.
but,
Yeah, just, parking is, it's just also good for your members to know that there's places for them to park, and it's easy to access the building, and to make sure that they're safe.
Right. And it's our priority to make sure that everyone is safe and we have enough, because we patrol parking right now. We don't want to have to continue to do that.
Okay,
yeah.
very
Thank you.
good. Ms. Garris, Ms. Faulkner, is there anything else on this application that is outstanding and you want to address?
No, Madam Mayor, as recommended by the Planning Commission, if the conditions are met, they would meet the ordinance requirements. I just want to clarify, it's our understanding that the parking that will be added is surface lots at this time,
Yeah.
not structured parking.
Okay.
Just for clarification.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I read that.
Okay.
But I was saying that a deck would be
Good idea.
nice.
Good
Thank
idea.
you for the idea.
A great idea.
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be good.
We'll expect approval when that comes up. Too.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be good because it'll be good for your members.
Yes, definitely.
I want safety.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Garros, is there anything else that's outstanding
No,
from
Madam
your
Mayor.
side? Okay, Councilmember Gustafson has questions and comments.
Not questions, more comments. I know it's been a long journey for all of you, settling in a new country, finding a new home, and I heard very clearly at the Planning Commission that you consider Burnsville your home. We have a lack of land because we're so built out, so it's difficult to find a place where you could have a place to worship, but I'm glad that you finally found a home. I just want to say, if the vote goes right, that welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah. Well, we're happy that you have found a solution so that you're not moving all over the place, all over the city.
We're much happier.
Yeah. And to your members, because some of them are my friends, I see them over at the Y, and and also, so I also am concerned about all of them as well. So, welcome. Burnsville is a community that is welcoming and compassionate and caring.
And that's why we live here.
And the thing is that for everybody who lives in Burnsville, all of us, no matter what our religion, our political affiliation, or the color of our skin, we are all one Burnsville. So,
We are.
all right? And the reason why we have laws is so that we live in harmony together.
And we
Okay.
appreciate those laws.
Yes, okay.
It can be tough sometimes.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Members of the council, I think we have the parking issue addressed, and you withdrew the
Green space variance.
green space variance.
Right.
You have beautiful green space in the back. Just add a little bit more, and it'll look pretty.
Yeah, with the deck, we'll do that.
Yeah, good. Pretty is nice.
It is.
Okay, members of the council, your pleasure.
Move to approve the revised finding of facts?
And the conditional use permit?
Conditional use permit, yes.
And also, yes. And the,
That includes the denial, Mayor.
that includes the denial, okay? And the finding of facts by the planning committee, the new findings of fact,
Yes.
not the fact. Okay, there's a motion by Councilmember Gustafson,
Second.
second by Councilmember Coughlin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, and the motion carries.
Thank you very
Blessings.
much.
Blessings, Yeah.
Those
yes.
If this wasn't approved, those friends of yours were going to give you a hard time.
Nah, they won't.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we now move on to the regular agenda, and the first item on the regular agenda is a public hearing. This is to approve off-sale liquor license for Target Corporation doing business as Target Store T-2340 for an off-sale liquor license at 810 County Road 42. Ms. Collins, our city clerk, is presenting this evening. Ms. Collins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. Target here in Burnsville,
Okay, if you can exit quietly, please, so can we still have business to conclude? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Burnsville Target here does currently hold what is commonly known as a 3-2 beer license. So they
Yeah.
already do have an off-sale license for beer. And they're doing some remodeling at the Target store, and that would want to include a separate entrance for a full off-sale liquor store. The police investigation is not necessary since they already hold a liquor license. And the principles involved would be the same. The license would be contingent upon acquiring all permits and the location passing inspection. This is a public hearing. I stand for any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Collins? This is a public hearing. I will now open a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Anyone who wishes to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Members of the council, your pleasure.
Move to approve with Comment?
Councilmember Keely makes the motion, second by Councilmember Coughlin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. The next item is also a public hearing, and this is a resolution ordering improvements and approving plans and specifications and ordering the advertisement for bids for Travelers Trail Heart of the City Improvement Project. Mr. Ryan Peterson, our Public Works Director, is presenting. Mr. Peterson.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Thanks for having me tonight. And as you said, we'll be going through our 19105 project, Travelers Trail and Heart of the City Improvement Project. I'll go through a quick process overview, project overview, special assessment methodology, and then have the public hearing. Back in November, the council ordered the study. We completed some survey work and plans. We did hold a neighborhood meeting in May. Nobody attended that one. There weren't a whole lot of notes to take from nobody, but we did complete our study and complete our plans. We're right here at the public hearing. This is necessary because special assessments make up a part of the funding package. Should we move forward, we'll bid the project, come back in June, And then we expect this to mostly be completed in the summer, fall, spring to be substantially complete. August, we'd mail out assessment letters. And then the assessment hearing would be in September. And then per usual, they would be financed over a period of years if not paid in full within 30 days. So what this project entails is resurfacing of Travelers Trail from Burnsville Parkway up to Pleasant Avenue. And then also some on-street parking bays as are in the areas in purple with sidewalk to help people get from where they're parking to where they want to go. And then from this area here would have the heart of the city treatments with the aesthetic lights and trees intermixed, and these would be more traditional overhead street lighting from to this direction. So that would be the main part of the project. We also are investigating putting in electric car charging stations to help meet some of our sustainability goals. So they are rather expensive. We're going to bid these as a bid alternate. If bids don't come in how we want them to, we would be able to turn those down. And also we're going to do things to try to make Nicola Commons Park have organic recycling as well. So we're trying to do a sustainability effort in this area, and we think it'll help improve this area and make it more desirable to come to for everybody. Per usual, you've seen this before. This shows what the
Mr. Peterson, now Councilmember Keeley has a question for,
If you could go back a slide, in any one of those locations on the map, for the charging stations, if
Yep.
they were to be able to be put in, is it a single charging station, or is it a quadplex, or more than one?
We are investigating with Tesla Company. They actually have a situation where if you put in a Tesla brand charging station, they will provide one additional that any type of car could use. So, and they will provide those for free along highway corridors. Now, we haven't had a ton of luck getting a lot of response, but we understand the program's out there. So we're hopeful we could get that. If that's not, if we can't figure that out, the other alternative method would just be to put one charging station in.
One at each?
Yeah, they're about $30,000.
Sure.
So they are not cheap, and that's for the version that gets you about 50 miles with an hour charge.
Yeah.
So you can get a faster charger, but the price goes up.
Is the installation of that, and what I'm thinking about is future growth with the number of electric cars that are coming out, and, so I'm kind of thinking beyond just the next year or two, but would the conduit and the power supply support additional ones without without essentially rebuilding the whole thing again? When those are put in, or are they going to be is there just enough power to run there? And if 5 years from now, we find that there's a lot of demand, we want to put more in, we're going back, pulling more, power source to those locations to support more than one.
I can safely say the conduit would be large enough to house enough cable. Whether we've designed the cable to handle a larger load, I'm not sure. But I think it's a good idea. That would be an easy change for us to make.
I just think if we ultimately do it, based on what I'm reading in the volume of electric cars over the next 5-10 years, it seems to be it's gonna dramatically increase. So especially in the heart of the city where we're creating this walkable community, we've got the parking, we're bringing more, hopefully more residential projects, et cetera, and some more commercial industrial. That'd be nice. This is going to be the ideal place in all of Burnsville, other than maybe the Wall too, to have these. And so I just want to sort of think out a little bit, and when we do an installation, give it that expandability without having extra costs down the road.
I like your idea to put a little larger cable, and now won't be a significant increase in cost. The service, you could always make the service itself be expandable. I don't know that we'd want to oversize that.
Yeah.
As long as it's expandable in the future, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
yeah, and especially when you'll get some more data, and whether it's a capacity that we can scale rather than putting in a whole lot of money now and not have it
Right.
be of use.
Yep.
So that, for me, that would be my concern. Let's make sure that, how do we plan out and how do we scale it? But if we put in the capacity but not build it in.
That makes sense.
And
I
that-
think we can find a sweet spot in there.
Yeah.
That we're not spending too much in case it doesn't be successful without, but still making it expandable.
Teslas
so-
have to come down a little bit more for more people to own
They
it.
got that new model they're trying to get out.
Yeah, yeah,
Can't build them fast enough.
yeah.
So we'll come back with, at the bid time, we'll give you an update on where we're at with that. And we'll see how
Thank you.
things
Yeah.
come in, whether we can get that out of the grant, and to make sure that it's expandable in the future. All right, let's see here. Where was I? So this is the typical map where you can see what the road looks like. This was last summer, right by WSB engineers, right on the south end of Travelers Trail by Burnsville Parkway. So you can see it's cracking, it's not totally falling apart, so this is the right time to go forward with resurfacing. This middle location here, we had some challenges right along the curb, so our street department came through and did some area patching. And then on the final one, you can see here, they had to almost go out to halfway out the road, but you can see why it's starting to fall apart, and now is the time to resurface this road. All right, there's a lot of numbers and a lot of words on this slide. I'll just go forward and say the entire estimated project cost is $1.15 million. The first almost $700,000 would come out of the host community deed grant and TIF remaining that we have in this area. So those will come off first, and then what the table over here means that we can use these different funding sources for these different areas, and then city funding and assessments would come in and pay for the remainder. There were budgeted areas, both with the project for this as well as in our street rehabilitation, to take on the city costs for those remaining costs. And we did actually today, or was yesterday, we received the notice from DEED that we were successful in getting the grant, so
Oh,
that's
good.
great news.
Yeah,
Yep.
congratulations, yeah,
that's
again,
about it.
well, let's just make sure that the legislature keeps funding that,
Yeah, if you've been down
Yeah.
by 126 DuPont,
Yeah.
Cliff Road, that area looks so much better. It's a
Yes.
huge improvement.
It really looks nice.
It really is largely because
has a
of that.
nice ride now.
Yes, indeed. So special assessments, we have to go through this to do these projects, according to our statute, 429. That it's only for the street rehabilitation, there's no special assessments for the curb or for the parking bays or that sort of thing, or the lighting. This is only for the street rehabilitation. We're gonna use 40% of the actual cost on this project. We'll set a $1 per foot rate after we know the actual cost, and then use the footage adjacent to each parcel, so you get the $1 per foot, multiply it by the amount of footage, that's how you determine your assessment. And then the remainder of the costs are paid by the grant and TIF and other city funds, as we discussed. They can be paid off over a period of years, depending upon the amount of years, or the amount of assessment on the parcel. So these are all relatively large parcels, and we'd be in the 10 to 15 year that they could be paid off. Interest rate is gonna be either 4.5% or somewhere between 4% and 5% for next year. Right now, the estimated assessment rate is $22.26 per lineal foot, which is pretty close to what we'd have if it was in the normal program. With that, like I said, we didn't have any attendance at our open house. We received no written comments, and this is a public hearing. I stand for any questions.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Peterson? Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the council on this item? Anyone who wishes to speak to the council on this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. And members of the council, this is to adopt standard resolution 4A and to order the project. So Mr. Peterson just presented what the project is going to be and what the estimates are going to be. And this is to order the project and approve the plans that he presented this evening and the specs. And now he wants to order the advertisement for bids. So,
So move with Councilmember Keeley's recommendation for, as to increasing the cable size and for Ryan to bring it back to us for a final determination as to that one piece.
I'll second
and
that.
you'll have it as an alternate bid?
Yeah, the charging stations in general, including all that cabling, will be an alternate bid.
Yeah,
Yep.
because that'll help us. If it's split out as an alternate, then we can see. It's more transparent for everybody too.
Yep.
So Councilmember Coughlin makes the motion, seconded by Councilmember Keeley. Any other comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you so much, Mr. Peterson. Members of the council, there are no other items to come before us this evening, and a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Councilmember Keely makes a motion, second by Councilmember Kaufman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and the motion carries. Good night, and thank you for being with us.